Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, we got another Rate My Build video coming to y'all. So essentially what this is I ask for your submission for builds that I want to showcase on video, and I'm going to get the most exotic, crazy, different builds that you've never seen before, or just things that kind of piqued my interest and that I thought were cool, or in different videos, maybe we'll do also bad ones that I want to help people maybe correct their builds to an extent. And I wanted to focus on builds that haven't been made yet, so I wanted to maybe give my 2 cents or my input on things that you could correct with the build, or a couple little minor tweaks that could make it better. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you do, to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all the good stuff, and like always, let's try to 1,000 likes. Now really quickly, I just want to preview all of the builds for you guys so you can see them 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna have 3 of them in today's video. So the first one, it's all gonna be sorted by height as well. This is a 5'10" build, very balanced. It has 80 driving dunk, 99 3-pointer still, 96 on both ball handle and speed with ball. He actually put me on to the fact that if you get 96 ball handle, it makes pretty much every playmaking badge about as cheap as you can possibly get it. And then he also has the 90 steal rating, but the 2 things that we're going to review in this build that obviously are struggling are going to be speed and perimeter defense. He feels like he doesn't need that exactly as high, and I will agree that in Pro-Am you don't exactly need those if you're not planning to play on-ball defense, but I will say if he's planning to play corner D, he might get picked on a little bit. It is a little bit harder to defend yourself in those corners when it comes to the passing lanes. People can get pretty nice cuts on you with the passing lane patch. I feel like it's not looking quite as amazing in terms of protecting yourself with a smaller build, but regardless, we're going to talk about this build. We also have the next one with our boy Luis right here. He has a 6'5" glitched out metric build. This is actually something really insane. I've never seen this before. It's 6'5" with a 6'4" wingspan, and what this has is it has gold clamps with the 87 perimeter defense, still has 91 steal rating, aka 90 plus, gets bronze chase down artist with the 57 block rating as well, gets bronze intimidator. It still has 95 3-pointer as well. So this is really interesting. I think this build looks really good. Again, we'll talk about this second part of the video. And then for the third one, we have a 7'2" build right here. It's really interesting. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say I advocate for this, but it definitely does look intriguing, at least. So again, this is a 7'2" build right here. It has 75 vertical. It's another metric build where essentially you would make this. Now, here's the thing, right? You would make this for the ability to get standing contact dunks, like the elite big man contacts, because what you need for that is 90 standing dunk and then 75 vertical. But either way, he ended up making this metric 7'2" right here that gets 75 vertical, even though the one glaring weakness of his build is that he doesn't have standing dunk. And I'm here to review whether I think that actually looks valid or not, so I hope y'all enjoy the video. Alright, so what I've done is I've copied them over into my own My Player Builder. I've created all of the exact builds. The process of creating some of them can be a little bit complicated, like the 6'5" with the 6'4" stats, it does get a little bit complicated, but again, the 7'2", it's pretty basic. All you have to do is just do a couple different things with the metric system. We'll maybe talk about that in a different video. In today's vid, I'm just here to kind of review these builds and give my thoughts on them as far as how they look. So again, we're starting with the 5'10" point guard. This one will be pretty quick. It's not a whole lot to talk about. We all know what this build brings to the table. It has 80 driving dunk for silver posterizer, although does not get any contact dunk packages. Obviously you need 84 for that. Now, if you wanted to sacrifice some 3-pointer to be able to get 84 driving dunk, aka the wingspan change, I think that could be kind of valid, but at the end of the day, 99 3-pointer does give you Hall of Fame blinders, Deadeye, mismatch expert, odds on hunter, all types of stuff like that. And if you sacrifice to be able to get that 84 driving dunk, then it becomes a little bit tougher to be able to be consistent with the shot, especially in comp pro-am, where your sole role and your absolute go-to role is going to be to shoot the ball off screens and just come out here and go crazy at the point guard spot and be a threat when that comes to it. And then off of that, either you're a big man slipping, you're going to be dotting the corners if they drop off the corner to try and help to the big, whatever the case may be, you guys get the deal. You're a threat that starts the whole process of the offense, and then everything else off that kind of chains off of you. So that's just how it is in the comp pro-am. Now with this, also, I just want to talk about how the difference between the ball handle ratings and stuff like that versus getting the 96, you can see quick chain at 96 goes down to 5. Also, if you go a little bit lower from 94 to 95, you get handles for days and hyperdrive, both for 1 badge point cheaper. So I totally get where he's coming from in terms of the ball handle being 96 just for that. Now, if you wanted to, I think 93 is by far the best rating threshold you can reach in terms of at least achieving those badges. As you can see, when you reach 91, you get handles for days on Hall of Fame, 92 gives you quick chain, and then 93 gives you hyperdrive. Now, again, going up to 96 gets him an extra playmaking badge and makes them all really cheap, so totally understand that. Now we'll come to the weaknesses of this build. Again, it's talking about the no perimeter defense. Obviously you can still have bronze clamps and bronze ankle braces. Obviously he gets like bronze pick dodger. It's not amazing, but what he can run is a little bit interceptor and a little bit of hustler. He can run both those on Hall of Fame, and that's 12, and then boom, he'll probably just run bronze ankle braces defenses and bronze clamps. Or you could drop one of these two and then run like bronze pick dodger, and then whatever the case may be with these other ones. You may even want to think about ball stripper if you're guarding corner, because when people do go with those corner cuts, they may just end up with someone who's like 6'9" to even maybe 7 foot down low with you. Obviously, you would try to avoid that in most situations, being matched up against taller people, but some teams you can't really control it. Sometimes people will keep taller people in their corners. So that's where I am going to say I think this build will struggle a little bit. Obviously, like I said, with the passing lane patch, I don't think 90 steal rating can protect you quite as much, as well as if you do end up on ball on the wing. 87 speed with 63 perimeter defense. That's not good for on-ball defense at all. With your height considered as well, it's not looking too hot for that. Overall, this will be a struggle on defense to an extent, but I will say, with most situations, and I know Womp, he plays with some pretty good people as well, but sometimes you have to come out here and carry the offense to an extent, and I think that's what his intention is with this. So to be able to get the driving dunks really consistently, and maybe even go for the quick drops off one with the dunk meter, and with that you still have the silver posterizer to kind of enhance your ability to. Now I'm going to sit here and tell you guys, and tell him as well, I don't think posterizer is worth striving for that much. I think you could maybe save this a little bit by going down to 74, but at the end of the day, you don't really gain that much off of doing so. I mean, even for dropping just 6 ratings of dunk, all it really gets you in terms of mid-range would be 1. In terms of the pass accuracy, it would literally be like 3. It doesn't get you an extra badge though. And then maybe you could put more ball handle speed with ball on, but it doesn't give an extra badge again. You could maybe put into perimeter defense, but you really still don't gain that much either. So I totally see where he's coming from, totally understand it, and I think this is a really good build. Now, as far as park goes for this build, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about this too much because obviously this build is meant for Pro-Am and Pro-Am only. As far as park goes though, I would not vouch for this very hard, to be honest with you. Like when you're already this small and you can't play on-ball defense at all, and your speed isn't even that great, so you can't really keep up with people who are going really crazy on the left-right stuff, or just in general, again, you're really small. You can't hang with the people who rim run you or anything like that, and you're not going to defend the perimeter at an elite level by any means with this build. So honestly, I think it does fit Pro-Am pretty solid, but I think he will struggle quite a bit to guard corner cuts or just people who mash him down low. What me and Tonic even do on the Pro-Am sometimes, he's going to have to really be one-dimensional with who he guards in the corner, because we have a 7'3" dude that sits in one of the corners. So he has to be very specific and very particular with which one he guards, especially if he's playing a team like ours. And there might be some teams out there who do something kind of like that to an extent. But anyway, overall, I think it's a pretty good build. It has a really good badge count on shooting and playmaking. Obviously still is doable on defense. It's not great by any means, and it's still pretty solid in finishing as well. And again, if he comes out here and does the dunk meter for the quick drops off 1 and stuff like that, I think it could be pretty valid. Silver limitless takeoff, silver posterizer, silver slowly finisher. That right there is your 9. I think you probably just end up running something like maybe bronze lob finisher, bronze fast twitch, and then like silver unstrippable, something like that. And then for the takeover options, pretty basic: shot, sharp play, simple as that. It doesn't get locked with his perimeter defense rating, obviously, but anyway, solid build. I think it's really key as well. I really do like that he put me onto this 96 ball handle rating in terms of making all of the badges cheaper, and that definitely is important as a point guard as well, especially for the shooting too. He gets most of these on like 6 or 5, and honestly none of them really do typically reach up to 7, but you can see the only one that really costs 6 that he's gonna really want to run would be Hozone Hunter. But all the other key ones like blinders, deadeye, mismatch expert, sniper, all types of stuff like that only cost 5, stop and pop as well. So this is definitely an interesting little build right here. I'm curious as well if mid-range rating influences this very heavily. So for instance, with mid-range rating being 86, blinders is 6 now, mismatch expert is 6 as well, sniper is 5 still, Hozone Hunter is 6 still as well. So really the only thing that mid-range changes is going to be blinders and mismatch expert. That's about it. But either way, still a pretty nice extra 2 badge points, and then you still get also 2 more badge points by just putting your mid-range up to the 989 as well. Alright, so next up we have the glitched out 6'5" build right here. Now what's so special about this, and I want to get right into it to show you guys, is again, you have mismatch expert on a 6'5" build. This typically is not supposed to happen. Like this right here, it even says in the badge description, you must be 6'4" or shorter, and it says 6'5" right here. And you get it on Hall of Fame as well. And that's really crazy, bro. It actually is so glitchy. If you guys want me to make a build video on how to actually set this up, it is a pretty lengthy process, but I'll definitely be down to show you guys that. And I think this is really elite too. I mean, for you to come out here at 6'5", you have 93 speed, you still have gold clamps, you have 90 steal rating as well. You actually do get bronze intimidator and chase down as well. That's really key. Now, the one thing this build will struggle with is obviously going to be the finishing. It only has 40 driving dunk. It will get the CJ McCollum dunk package. I put you guys onto that a long time ago, like literally 3 or 4 months to this extent, but either way, I think it's still doable. I don't think it's really reliable or something you should depend upon, but either way, I mean, this build looks so good. 95 three-pointer, 92 ball handle. Again, we talked about how the only thing he's really lacking for not having 93 is going to be gold hyperdrive. He doesn't get Hall of Fame quick first step though. You would need 92 speed with ball for that. I don't know if it's possible really. I already tried this as well. You can make a build that gets 91 speed with ball and it gets 94 speed, but it doesn't get gold clamps, and either way, again, you would need 92 for Hall of Fame quick first step. So I think it's a pretty good like middle ground to an extent. I think it fits really good between being a lockdown and a playmaker, and just in general, it's a really good two-way point guard build. Also, just in case anybody was curious about if you can actually equip Mismatch Expert, I will take his word for it, but in my own perspective of what I've tested this out as well, if you guys watched the 6'10" build that I made, like I think 5 or 6 days ago or something like that to this point, I tried this on a build that was 6'10" and it said that I got Slithery Finisher, but you're not supposed to be able to get that at that height. But either way, I went into the build, I upgraded my driving dunk enough to equip it, and it did let me put the badge on. So if you are curious about this, it definitely is a thing. I think that's really comp as well. It really is insane to have Mismatch Expert on a build like this. Now, whether that's effective at 6'5" is a whole different story, but it does still work, obviously, on 6'9" builds or any like tall center builds or anything like that. Also, one question I've always had with Mismatch Expert as well, and I think this may be why I'm confident in terms of guarding ball on a 7-footer, is I see that it says in the description, after forcing the switch, a player with this badge will have more success when shooting over the taller defender. I'm curious if that just means in general shooting over the taller defender, or if you actually do have to get the arrows to switch in terms of playing defense. Now, honestly, that's a whole different story for a different video, but I think it's a really interesting thing to talk about. I've always seen that in the description, but I don't think people really think about it, or maybe it's just like complete BS, like you don't actually have to force the switch. But let me know what you guys think in terms of the comments on that. But anyway, to finalize the build right here, again, the ability to get like Chase Down Artist and Intimidator is pretty cool. Hall of Fame Interceptor, it's not that great, but either way, you still have the on-ball defensive ability of gold ankle braces, gold clamps, gold pick dodger. The list goes on and on. I think this is really good. If you got one more perimeter defense, you could get Hall of Fame pick dodger, but it is what it is. Honestly, this still looks really good. And as far as the physicals, I mean, you're a 6'5" build, you get 93 speed, it's pretty standard, 91 acceleration. We have no vertical, no strength on this. I do want to vouch for putting strength on an on-ball lockdown build. I think it's really, really comp. So if you were to change some things, and it's a little bit tough, right? Because these guys, they're aware of this stuff. They know about how to get their badge points. Like for instance, the 90 steal rating is for the extra defensive badge point. There's no point in going for 91 versus 90. But let's just say you're okay with dropping a finishing, playmaking, and defensive badge just to upgrade strength. You could drop your close shot down to 57. He had it at 60. You could drop your pass accuracy to 85 instead of 86. It drops 1 playmaking badge, and then we could drop the steal rating by 1 as well. You'd have 46 strength instead of 25. I really do want to vouch for that on a build like this. I think you play amazingly better defense when you have strength upgraded. And my boy Kitchen, who makes a lot of builds around this height as well, whether it be 6'4" and like 6'4" and 3/4, like this metric build right here, or a true 6'5", or even his 5'7" and 5'9", he's upgraded strength on all but one of them, and the one that doesn't have strength feels really bad on defense. So that is the revision I would maybe make on this. Either way, the takeover options very standard again, shot, sharp play, and then we get the lock takeover as well on this. And I cannot stress this enough. This looks really cool, bro. 6'4" wingspan on a 6'5" build. You're not even supposed to be able to go lower on your wingspan than the height. That really is crazy, bro. So that's definitely a really exotic, different thing, like we mentioned in the intro, and I think that's really cool. Now, again, just to kind of talk about this, if you didn't want to have the Hall of Fame clamps, what you could do is you could have 94 speed and 91 speed with ball, and just have 85 perimeter defense. You don't have to go for the perimeter D to be able to hit the clamps, but I think it is pretty valid. But at the end of the day, to get 1 more speed and 1 more speed with ball, to some people, is more important than a level of clamps. So if that's up to you, do what you want with that. All right, so the next up, probably the most controversial build of all. We have the 7'2" right here. Again, this is a metric build. It's how you get the 75 vertical on this. We'll maybe talk about that in a different video as well. I've actually even showed that, to be honest with you. But anyway, with this right here, we have the 7'2", 235 in the weight, 8-foot wingspan. What this all allows you to do is have the 99 defensive rebound. You still have pretty solid physicals, 65 speed, 75 vertical. You can see you also have the 96 interior defense. You end up with like 99 as a max. But either way, going to the build, he ends up with shooting on this build. Now with 12 shooting badges, and a lot of them are expensive too because his 3-point rating and mid-range are both pretty low. With this, it's going to cost you 5 just to run Gold Sniper. You have an additional 3 for Hot Zone Hunter. Then you have things like Bronze Catch and Shoot. You have maybe Bronze Corner Specialist. And obviously, this gets pretty pricey in terms of your very limited shooting badge count. Now, maybe he wants to put his extra shooting badges on. Like for his build that gets at least 4 extra. Maybe he even has up to 8 if he's hit level 40 in every season. At that point, you could have literally up to 20 shooting badges on this build. And it definitely would make that a little bit more reasonable. You can't run these at a super high maximum level, but either way, it does add up. to be able to run bronze blinders. That was a real tongue twister right there. I had to make a cut. But you could run bronze blinders. You could run bronze catch and shoot. Obviously, the green machine could be at like bronze as well. Silver Hoswin Hunter, gold sniper. Obviously, you have the corner specialist. Not really lucky 7, but you could run bronze Deadeye as well. And honestly, all of that does add up to a pretty manageable shooting standard. Now, let's talk about the whole controversial part of this build. He has obviously 74 driving dunk for the silver limitless takeoff, which is pretty valid. Like I said, he has driving layup on this, which is pretty interesting as well. It doesn't really gain you that much, to be honest. Like, the only thing this really does affect is to get fearless finisher and teardropper. That's about it. But honestly, it becomes a little bit of a touchy topic as far as like dropping the driving layup. You could even make a case for just literally like dropping the post control entirely as well, because at this point, I don't know if you're going to be that reliable in terms of holding onto the ball. What I do want to also mention as well is that I think you could drop your close shot to 93. This is where you get grace under pressure and fast twitch on Hall of Fame for, mouse in the house, all types of stuff like that. Obviously, fast twitch is a little bit different of a case because it kind of depends on standing dunk too. But in this situation, it will get the job done because you don't have any standing dunk. Now, what I think you should go for with this, I've tried this myself. I have builds that have 45 standing dunk. It's pretty nice. I will vouch for this. But at the end of the day, is it really worth? I don't know. I mean, close shot rating at 93 is plenty good enough, but obviously the finishing badge count will not get the job done. 14 of these, literally you're looking at mouse in the house and fast twitch already taking up all of your finishing badges. And then if you have grace under pressure too, you need to literally fill all of everything out. And then obviously you want things like limitless takeoff on at least bronze, maybe silver if you can afford it. After that though, it's a little bit questionable. I don't know if you really need anything. Obviously bronze posterized would be kind of nice, but either way, everything else looks pretty standard. So all you're making this build for, obviously, if you make this, is to be a tall masher who has pretty good close shot rating, and then you can still shoot the ball as well. Now, I see what he's doing with this. Obviously, you know, upping your standing dunk to 45 instead of 0 or 25 makes no difference in terms of your badge count. And with having driving layup on all the way up to like 76, it gets you a lot of extra finishing badges. Having your close shot rating to 99 is obviously very effective. And then on top of that too, you gain an extra finishing badge. So 18 overall total, it looks pretty good. Now, do I feel like you can be a comp, like real competitive pro-am player when you're bringing this in at the center position with no standing dunk? Honestly, yeah, you probably could, low-key. Like, if you're doing the driving dunks, you know, like the standing driving dunks, it's still possible. You can get some standing dunk animations while just in motion, but you're never going to standing dunk below the basket. But either way, it's not that big a deal. Obviously, 99 close shot at 7'2" is still ridiculously dominant. But here's my thing, honestly, when it all comes down to it, I don't think you really need to be able to shoot the ball when it comes to fives. I feel like really this is an inconsistent shot anyway. I think most times your team would rather get the shot from their point guard or for you to end up in the paint regardless. It does make you a little bit one-dimensional. I think I'm speaking from my perspective, where I would like to think I'm one of the better people at my position in the game, and also my boy Shots is one of the better people at his position in the game too. So we kind of like cooperate with each other a whole lot better. Whereas if you're maybe playing with a little bit more of a mediocre point guard, or you don't think you're like that amazing at your position either, I think you may need a little bit of shooting in you. And especially if you pair it with the point guard build that we showed like with Womps earlier, where he has 80 driving dunk on it, it definitely pairs with builds that can actually dunk the ball a whole lot better. For me, I am really confident in playing with taller inside bigs because I play with a guard that has 25 driving dunk or 40 at most. And there's really no reason to have an outside big man when you have a super outside oriented point guard. So anyway, honestly, overall though, I think this still looks pretty good. He can get bronze glue hands for having his ball handle up a little bit. Also, having your ball handle up just a little bit definitely makes a little bit of sense for you in the rare situation that you need to be a press break guy. I don't know how your team goes about it. Also, to talk about the shooting rating, I think 3-point rating is pretty important for press break. It makes it so they can't really force the ball into your big man's hands without at least putting a like body in front of him when he has the ball. Because when I have it and I can't shoot the ball, and I'm obviously not that great with the driving contact dunks because my build doesn't even have 84 driving dunk, and it's not exactly the fastest to get down to the paint quick enough, they can literally just kind of leave me alone and then send a corner down to me and send the big man to me if I have the ball and I'm a scoring threat by that point. So for you to be able to kind of stretch out the defense on press breaks a little bit more is pretty nice. I don't think press is so elite like it used to be though now, with the passing lanes being a little bit touched. But either way, 96 interior defense for the Hall of Fame brick wall, 98 block rating gives you the Hall of Fame rim protector, and it gives you a cheaper badge point on it as well. As you can see, it goes from 6 to 5. Overall, this looks pretty good. I mean, the steal rating is solid, the 99 defensive rebound. You don't need crazy good offensive rebound if you have a little bit of an ability to shoot, but I think you do still want this pretty high. I'm not gonna lie, but it is the sacrifice you make in terms of making an outside build. The post control rating is a little bit low, but it's like okay enough, I guess. it's not going to be like to a point where you're going to be confident holding LT, because I promise you, when you play Pro-Am, they're going to spam you. They're going to spam you all day. Like, and if they get a steal, they're lucky and they just, like, you know, it's for the best. But if they don't get a steal, they're just going to keep on reaching on you whenever you get the ball down in the post. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. If you have it high, you're getting reached in on and you can't really utilize it as well. If you have it low, you're still getting reached in on and you might lose the ball instead of just getting fouled. But either way, as far as the acceleration goes, as you guys know now by this point, probably acceleration is 100% proven to only be with the ball in your hands in terms of how you move with it. So it is pretty valid to drop this rating on a 7'2" build like this. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Overall, this is a pretty good build. I would like to see this in action. I would like to even use it, honestly, in Pro-Am and see how I feel about it, because I do still definitely think standing dunking is going to be really, really good for you, like to be able to just quickly put the ball in the hoop. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty good sacrifice to make for your build. I mean, standing dunk is so expensive on your build. Like, that alone literally creates the ability for you to put your three-pointer up. I mean, if we drop the three-pointer into the mid-range all the way down, or at least to the point where I can get the 93 close shot, at that point, we're sitting here looking at the standing dunk, and you can max it, but barely. And if we don't touch the close shot rating and leave it at 99, then at that point, we're sitting here looking at literally not even being able to max your standing dunk just for having your three-pointer mid-range up. Honestly, it's up to you. I think probably, to be honest, for the majority of people who play this game, three-pointer and mid-range is probably more important anyway than standing dunk even is. So it's pretty valid. But anyway, takeover options for this build, it's going to be rim and glass, simple as that. It is a little bit unfortunate to be a popper build and not have sharp takeover, but it is what it is. What can you expect with only like 73, 74 three-pointer and not having that much mid-range anyway? But anyway, I would probably run double rim take with this. I'm assuming you're going to be guarding corner on D. You're not really guarding pick and roll anyway, and you don't really need glass take for the way you're probably going to play with this. But at the end of the day, maybe you just have shooting as an option. You don't really rely upon it so much. So maybe you would just want to run something like See the Future in one of these slots as well. But anyway, that's all video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all good stuff. And like always, tries 1,000 likes. Again, I think all three of these builds are looking really valid, and I've never even made them or showed them in a video, to be honest. Like, as far as the no standing dunk, I've never really talked about that. I've never really talked about the 6'5" with the 6'4" stats. It looks really interesting. I think this is a really, really good build, and it's really glitchy too, that the wingspan is 6'4" and the height is 6'5". That's crazy. And then with this, we also have the 5'10". This is maybe one that we've talked about in the past a little bit, but it is still an interesting concept of not having your perimeter defense up that high or to go with a low speed. He thinks that personally you don't need speed that high. I guess I'm kind of on board with it to an extent, but I see my boy Shots on his 5'9" build, the OG one that he made at the beginning of the year, and it has 92 speed. It doesn't play very good on-ball defense, but to be fair, in that era of the game, we kind of relied upon him playing a little bit more perimeter D than this build would be anticipated to. Like 100%, way more. We had him on the wing playing off-ball D. This build right here is probably just staying in the corner. It's as simple as that, but you will probably struggle with transition offense a little bit. It is what it is, though. It's definitely a sacrifice he's probably willing to make, and at the end of the day, this can really carry your half-court offense with the driving dunk and the three-point rating and the ball handle speed with ball that it has, all the badge counts. So anyway, that's all video. If you made it to the end of the vid, put build in the comments to show support made all the way through. Other than that, feel free to leave any feedback on the builds. Let me know what you guys think. You may have already commented in this video midway through, but anyway, hope y'all enjoyed. Appreciate you watching. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.